Log Horizon. I just got to watch Log Horizon after so many months. I finally got on the Crunchyroll and got to see it. And my first impressions on the series is pretty much good. It's great. It's awesome. It totally reminds me of Dot Hack Sign. It reminds me of Excel World. It reminds me of SAO, MMORPGs all the way. It is good. And I mean, as far as I can tell, the most exciting part about this series is that the people we start out with are all high level. They're all pretty smart, and one of them is just like SAO, a high level, high ranking legendary player. And I always like that kind of view from the legendary players, the really high skilled players, because it gets past the learning curve, and already the character can already start owning everyone. You're not too worried about them losing. It's just nice. I like it. I like having a character who's not, struggling to figure out how to swing his sword. And so that is the most interesting part so far I found this series, is that he's a legendary player, and I'm hoping that maybe we'll see some of those other legendary players too. The Tea Party, or Tea Bagger, that group, that guild, that he was talking about in this series, the Guild Master. I hope I get to see some of them in this series. I'm hoping a lot. I've heard it's a political series for some reason, which is an interesting take, because there really hasn't been any MMOs that's been really political. Not that I remember. Although there is a manga, a Chinese manga. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's also, I think it's Prince. Is it Prince? I'll get back to you guys on. Similar to that as well, where they also have guilds, and you also have that kind of interaction between other guild members. And basically the guild master, the character, is also the leader of all these people, and so he has to negotiate terms with other players on territory and whatnot. And so I mean that I've seen some of it work, but not so much in any of the mainstream MMO anime. Have not yet seen that. And right now I like it so far. It's very reminiscent of how SAO started, Sword Art Online, except Kirito is not in here so much. He's not the lone wolf, more like a smarter version, mage version of Kirito. And so I kind of like it. There's a little bit cliche. I mean, his teammates, of course, are very cliche. You have a moe, lolly, assassin, and then you have the fan service from Maria with the boobs. And you also have his best friend, Nagarati. I cannot say his name correctly, but he's also one of those, the best friend who's always a perv. That kind of cliche came in there as well. So I don't know if this is going to be one of those series that has a lot of cliches in them. It might even be like, it might even take this Zone Tsukima route with, the kind of interaction with magic and the friends. Be a little cliche, so maybe we'll find out later. There'll be like an emotionless, or, person, like a Nagato from Melancholy Haru Suzumiya. There might be one of those kind of characters. I forgot what they're called too. Yeah, it's looking good so far, looking great. I'm excited to watch episode 2. I just finished episode 1. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. I am wondering though, because the thing I missed the most of all the series, the MMOs I played, I've also played World of Warcraft. So I've been for like 2 years. So I totally know the sense of MMO-ness. What I want to see is if they do something PvP. A lot of these series, a lot of them are heroes and whatnot, but I have not seen, because the thing that I think is missing from a lot of these series is when you get higher level, when you get to the max level, you start doing a lot of like random things. I don't know if it's true for everybody. When I reached the max level in World of Warcraft, I started doing just random things to mess with the game, just to have fun, to socialize. I explored. We tried to draw bosses into the towns, and just do a bunch of shenanigans. I mean, throw parties, naked parties. It's just that when you get to the max level of the game, when you complete all the content, there's a lot of things you start doing with socializing, and we haven't really seen that. It's really surprising how they don't really show this in any of the MMOs we've seen. It's always been about fighting monsters and fighting all these other creatures. But if you ever played an MMO, when you finish the game, it's like, what do you do afterwards? You just mess around. I mean, you just run around, killing low levels, or just helping low levels not get killed by people. It's this ongoing battle of boredom, and you just find random things to do with other people online. And we don't see that here. It's mostly still exploring fantasy slash MMO style. And so a lot of these series, it feels like they're just an extension of the fantasy genre. And well, I mean, is that good as bad? We don't know yet. This series might not take that route, but it's something to consider. While I'm watching this, I'm gonna be considering that in my mind. Is it gonna follow this kind of fantasy? I'm gonna be a higher boss, or is it gonna actually delve into that kind of boredom that you get after finishing an MMO? They're both capped at max 90. So I mean, all these people that we've seen so far are max level. None of them look like they're noobs, and so we should. I know. Hopefully, I'm thinking maybe we'll get some of that sense in there. But I mean, you never know. So, episode 2, here we go.